again for joining us for today's webcast, Get Answers with Microsoft Dynamics GP Reporting. Now it's my pleasure to introduce today's first presenter, Pam Misialek. Pam, you now have the floor.
Great, and thank you. Thanks for everyone for joining us to Getting Answers with Microsoft Dynamics GP Reporting. Today we're going to talk about a lot of different reporting tools that are available not only today, but also what is coming out in the future with Microsoft Dynamics GP 2013 and also with Management Reporter 2012. So we're going to talk a lot about reporting. We're going to show a lot of demos today, so keep in mind your demo key to see in full screen is F5. So we will be showing a lot of demos rather than a lot of PowerPoints today. But let's first take a step and talk about reporting. When we do research at Microsoft, every single time we do research, the number one thing that our customers are asking for is reporting. Every single time, as long as I've been on this team, I've been on this team for 6 years, every single time we do research on what existing customers are looking for, the number one thing they ask for is reporting. And so over the years, we've added SQL reporting services reports. We've added Excel reports. We have Smart Lists. We have Smart List Builder. And so we took a step back and said, well, what does this really mean? If our customers are asking for more reporting, we already have lots and lots of reporting that's available out there. And what we really found out, it wasn't more reporting that they wanted, it was just being able to get the answers to the questions that they had. So they have questions on how to run their business better, and they want to use their historical data to be able to make educated decisions on their business and getting answers from the historical data that they have. And so today we're going to focus a lot of the time today on what are the different reporting options available, how do you get access to them, what do they look like, and then also how can you use them to get answers out of your business data. Because when you have several years of history, you have a lot of value there that you can use, take forth, and try to predict the future. And there's tools available out today that allows you to do that. The other thing we'll focus on is Management Reporter as well, because what we found is that's a very key it's a key area that a lot of people depend on, every day from a financial reporting perspective to find out where they're at. So when we think about reporting, a big topic is I want reporting within Dynamics GP. So I want reports inside of Dynamics GP. And from a strategy perspective, what we're seeing is it's not just GP data that you want, it's really your entire business. You want information that ties across your entire business, and a lot of that data isn't necessarily inside of Dynamics GP. So what we're doing and what we'll continue to do in GP 2013 and as we move forward is trying to take the best pieces of the different Microsoft platforms to try to give you the right tools and functionality that you'll be able to use to get those answers. And so what we've noticed is a big theme of a lot of customers want is they want sales data and marketing data from CRM. They want to mash that together with Dynamics GP data so then they can be able to see that bigger view of their entire business so they can actually get better information out so they can make better decisions. The other area that we're focusing a lot of time on is Office. So Office has a new release coming out. We've worked really closely with them for several years now on, what are some of the features and functionality we would want to add into Office that would really help someone who's using an ERP solution. And so what we've done is taken a look at some of the things coming out in Office. But what we've also done is said, well, let's not wait for Office to add a feature. Let's see what we can do today with Office and that robust functionality that they have. And so what we've done in Dynamics GP 2010 is we've added functionality around Word and Excel. Kind of focusing on those products, being able to email through Outlook and things like that to just make the experience much, much easier. So let's take a look. So rather than talking about PowerPoints, let's take a look and let me give you some examples of what you're able to see in Dynamics GP. So I'm going to share. Okay, so now remember to see this in a better view, you'll want to click F5 and that'll bring you to full screen mode. So what this is this is Dynamics GP and our navigation list. So these came out in Dynamics GP version 10.0, and what we've done in GP 2010 is we've added business intelligence functionality, or what we're calling our business analyzer functionality, into these navigation lists. And what's nice about it is you're able to, view information like here's pricing, item pricing by vendor, sales trends by region and things like that. But what gives you more value is when you're able to click on an item. So when I click on an item and I refresh these charts, it filters it based off the item that I mark. So if I mark multiple items and refresh, it would show that information based off that. So like in this example, I'm just looking at, a standard item. We can do different sorts and filters that would be able to give you, items that have a certain quantity available. You can mark all of those and get relevant contextual business intelligence based off that item. So in this case, if I want to look at this Xbox Connect, you'll notice here I have my different locations. In my South location, I have a lot of quantity in there. So it could be that, do I have my items in the right locations? Am I balanced in the right way based off where I'm selling and where I'm shipping? So that's kind of another example of when you're trying to get answers out of your system. It's things like that a lot of customers are looking for. Am I selling items at the right price? Do I have them at the right location? What are my real shipping costs and, the travel time? Am I able to ship in a different way, or have my warehouse organized in a different way to be able to have it more streamlined? And those are some of the answers that you can get by hooking up this data with Dynamics GP. So in here's a interesting chart. So I'm looking at this Xbox item, and in this report I have item pricing by vendor. So I could see which vendor price I can get the cheapest. So another area or another scenario a lot of customers have asked for is, okay, I know I'm selling in the right way, but am I buying from the right vendor? Am I getting a fair price? And these are some of the things that you can just take a look at without having to spend a lot of time trying to deep dive and do data analysis. So in this case, if I look at this vendor, you'll notice that this American vendor is the smallest for price. So let's take a look at that. So we're going to go to our purchasing area, and we're going to go to our navigation list that I have sorted for vendor. So in this case, I'm going to just pick that same customer that had the smallest price, and if I refresh my reports, then you'll be able to see I can get different information about this vendor. So I can say here's the different items that we purchased from this vendor, and we're also able to do a link conversation with them. So one thing to note, I've talked to many customers about this, and they say this is great. I can do a link conversation. I can do an instant message, back and forth with a vendor. I can't afford this. I don't have the infrastructure to be able to do this. It would be great to be able to do. I'd love to be able to work in that way. My vendor would prefer to work in this way as well. I just can't afford that type of infrastructure. One nice thing with this is you're able to use Office 365. So you could have it on-premise. You could implement like the Microsoft Link technology, or you can go to Office 365. You pay per month per person. So whoever actually would use this the most, you give that to them, and you pay per person. So it gives you that ability to be able to do that in a much different way. So now, let's say if we wanted to create a purchase order for this vendor. There's some new functionality that's come out that I wanted to point out to you as well that's around this reporting type scenario. So in here, we have our requested ship date. So based on the instant message conversation, you can say, hey, can you get me these items in? They can say, yeah, I can get it by a certain date. You can update the purchase order automatically. The other thing you can do is you're able to email. So we did add email as a function, and with this, what we can do is have predefined email templates that you can edit on the fly. So you can have this one that would automatically go out if you wanted to type in a personal message based off your conversation. You could add that into this message body. You'll notice that there's the keyword, so the email will actually pull in information from Dynamics GP and automatically personalize it for you. You can also add on the fly just different email addresses as well. So what happens is we'll save this, and then when I print, this is what it looks like when I email to the vendor. So this is what they're going to see. And what this is one of our new Word templates. So we've come out with Word templates that are just using Microsoft Word, and it has automatic keywords that would automatically populate with like the purchase order information and the item information. And so what's nice about this is it's using the power of Word. So what this gives you the ability to do is really move away from pre-printed forms. So another scenario that a lot of customers have asked about, or they spend a lot of money on just pre-printed forms using, you know, the purchase order or the receipt, you know, invoice forms that we have today, and they'll use them with pre-printed forms. Well, what's nice about this is now that you have Word, you can add logos, and you can add things in Excel or add things in Word, and pretty much anything you can do in Word you can add into here. So you can have a really professional-looking document without a lot of effort, and then you can remove that and save costs by not having to have those pre-printed forms. So that's just one area that I wanted to highlight. Let's take a look at Business Analyzer that's outside of Dynamics GP. And so the example I gave here to begin with was Business Analyzer inside. So what we were looking at was, there's a second so you can see that. Okay, so here's how we get to Business Analyzer. It's just a separate application. It's a little app. It takes a couple minutes to load. You point it to your SQL database, and it looks like this. And so what's nice about this is it's outside of Dynamics GP. So people who are not GP users can use this type of functionality rather than having the full navigation of GP. So one of the things we found in some of the research we've done is most companies have that one or two people. They're kind of the go-to people that have access to Dynamics GP. So they're the people that the sales people go to, the warehouse people go to, the owners or CEOs go to and say, hey, can you get me this information? Can you get me that? Can you get me a report that shows this? They're the ones that are the keeper of all the data. And what we found is that person is incredibly valuable, incredibly intelligent, but they spend a lot of their time just generating reports and creating charts and sending things out to different people. And so if you could take that person that has all that knowledge and knows Dynamics GP so well and be able to say, you don't have to spend half your time doing reports for other people. You can spend that actually helping to run the business. That gives them a huge amount of value. And that's what this Business Analyzer is all about, is really taking that information and being able to share it broadly without having that person at the gate, sending things back and forth. And so people who do not have access to GP can get to this. And so what's nice about this is they can have their own view. So, if I'm a CEO, I may have different charts than if I'm a salesperson. So each person can have their own unique view. They have their own little app that's installed on their desktop that they're able just to view information. And so what you're able to do is you're able to just go through the different reports. There's a sliding bar on the bottom. And you can see different trends. And this can be real time, so you have the choice. So there's some reports you probably want to wait till finance approves and you publish them monthly. You can set it up that way that they're not refreshed. And then you have other reports that you probably want to have just refreshed real time. You have the ability to separate both of those out. And these reports are SQL Reporting Services reports. And so any report that you put in SQL Reporting Services, you can display in this Business Analyzer. So back to the beginning, when I talked about CRM, you can get a report that has CRM information. You can create a report that has CRM and GP information. You put it here, you put it in a certain folder out on SQL Reporting Services, and the Business Analyzer will be able to view it. So you can even take information from a legacy system or a different system that you have, and you can mash that together. As long as you can get it into SQL Reporting Services, you'll be able to display it here. So it just gives you that ability to be able to do more things, and it gives you that ability to view in different ways like this as well. So another area in here is this is what you can do is you can filter your reports, you can load them, and you can share the different options around Business Analyzer. So I get to have things the way I want to see them. I don't have to have a collective view the way other people would see. Okay, so I'm going to show you one more thing, and then we're going to drill into Management Reporter a little bit more after that. So I want to show you an idea of what's coming with Dynamics GP 2013. So what I showed you up until this point as things that they're available today. You can get them now; they're available, and you can you can run with it. What I want to show you next is what's kind of coming in the future, what's going to come with Dynamics GP 2013 that's scheduled to release in December of 2012. So it's coming pretty soon. So you'll see this is the new homepage for Dynamics GP. So what we've done is we've taken that business analyzer type application and we've embedded it into the homepage. And so I know some of you have said, oh, we don't use the charts on the homepage because they're slow. What you can do here, again, it's back to that power of choice. You can say, well, these reports don't refresh, so it'll load really, really fast, and then they can refresh them manually. Or you can have some reports refresh and not refresh, based on speed. So you have that choice, so you're able to see it, but it's not going to take a long time for the home page to open if you put these charts and graphs in. What's nice about this is that it is Business Analyzer, so when you look at this bottom one here, these are opportunities that close in the next 30 days, and those are opportunities from CRM. So you're able to see CRM information inside of GP. You're able to view information in the context that makes sense to most people. So what you can do is you can just click on the different areas, and it'll move into the middle. And so with this is the new homepage. So with the homepage, we have our different reminders that we have with the stacks. The stacks came out in GP 2010, so it just gives you an idea of how many things that you have as well. And so in here, what we can look at is just our total purchases. So this is Smart List. It's the same Smart List that you've had before. You can see it's a refreshed view of it, so it just looks a little bit different, but it gives you that same look and feel of functionality. So let's take a look at the view. Okay, so here's the new purchase order window that's coming out in the Dynamics GP web client. So we're going to have two clients that will come out with Dynamics GP 2013. You'll have the desktop client, which is a client that you're used to today, and then we also have this web client that you'll see it has a little bit unique view. It has a different UI, but we give that power of choice because we had a lot of customers who they want a fresh look and feel, but the data entry people don't want their tab sequence changed. They're used to going tab, tab, tab and doing their thing, so we've done that. But what's nice is from a reporting perspective, we've kind of refreshed the purchase order entry. We've made it where it's easier to navigate, so you'll notice that there's these tabs at the bottom. So to go to different windows, you can just click on these different tabs to view that information. So when you're thinking about getting more out of your system and getting more reporting out, what you're able to do is have multiple different Smart Lists open. You'll be able to look at those in different ways. You can have the different charts and graphs, open as well, and you'll be able to access them in this tab in the bottom. So another area that we've tried to focus on is just giving you that information in the way that you work, in the way that it makes sense to you, so you don't have to do a whole separate navigation and go out to SQL reporting services, to be able to get that information. So with Dynamics GP 2013, we've added some more SQL reports. We've added some more Excel reports. We've also added some more Word documents as well. So we started the foundation in GP 10. We've continued to add functionality in GP 2010. We'll continue to do that in 2013. So what'll be the use of you guys is to be able to take those reports, start with that foundation, and be able to modify it so you'll be able to get those answers that you've been looking for. Okay, so next, I'm going to turn it over to Jill, and she is going to talk more about getting some reporting out of Management Reporter. So, Jill?
Thanks, Pam. With Management Reporter 2012, what we focused on is interactive report viewing, deeper Dynamics integration, report collaboration, and design flexibility. And what we're going to focus on today in the demos is the report collaboration and the interactive report viewing, which aligns with what Pam was talking about, with getting data out to people and having them have the control over that data. The highlights for Management Reporter 2012 were 30-plus new features based on 25 suggestions that had 179 votes, and then we also support 22 countries. That's just kind of the highlights. When we think about design flexibility, what we've done with Management Reporter 2012 was allow the ability to quickly identify the accounts and dimensions that have been omitted from the building blocks so that, excuse me, so that you can, during your report design process, you can then, identify the accounts and dimensions that have not been included if you're adding new dimensions, if you're adding new accounts to your chart of accounts, and be able to do that before the report is actually generated. You can also do some control about how account descriptions are formatted, easily save and reuse dimension combinations when designing reports, format headers for rolling forecasts and that type of thing as it relates to really allowing people to have that design flexibility. And this goes back to that person that Pam was talking about earlier, who is the main person that is getting asked for all these different types of reports. It gives them a lot of flexibility and lower maintenance as to how those reports are actually designed. With relation to the deeper Microsoft Dynamics ERP integration, allowing for the ability to drill from the account and budget balances on a report back into Dynamics GP, and we'll take a look at this in a little bit, but really, again, giving the information to those people that need it. If they have access to GP, they can drill back all the way to an inquiry screen and get the information that they need. And then also importing new companies with a single click. Anytime a company name is changed, updated, a new company is added, all of that information automatically flows through into Management Reporter without maintenance on both systems. Report collaboration, and this is an area that we'll dig deeper into once we get into the demo, is really about providing that personalized and secured view of data for all of the different output types. And again, going to the people that are maybe outside of finance that still need to have the financial data and get a secured view and personalized view of what that actually looks like. The output options include a read-only XPS format, being able to distribute across to multiple report library locations, being able to generate and distribute out to SharePoint locations, out to network shares, however your business is running and working and how you distribute those reports, you can use Management Reporter to do that. And then also schedule them on a periodic basis. If you have a group of reports, for example, that at month end you know that they get generated to a certain location every month, what you can do is just simply create a schedule and have those reports placed in those locations. Using the built-in capabilities in SharePoint to email alerts to people and let them take control of that and have them set up their own alerts of when they want to be notified when something has changed, when something new has been added in that as well. As also being able to email a link from within the actual report viewer, which we'll take a look at as well, and collaborate with others on those reports. As it relates to interactive report viewing, being able to, again, this goes not only with interacting with that report, but also collaborating with others in your organization as well to make sure that everyone's on the same page and has all the information that they need. Being able to attach comments to important rows on a specific report version, being able to copy those comments. Again, providing more information, more context about the data, allowing others to make informed decisions because they have all this additional information. Quickly being able to chart based on selected rows and columns, again, adding another layer of analysis, providing people with that information that can then either be just viewed in the viewer, then copied out and into a PowerPoint presentation, a Word document, whatever needs to be done with that to communicate that information. Collaborating on a report by providing a link and then launching an instant message conversation. And Pam showed that briefly as well within GP, being able to do that collaboration and provide context to those reports and to that information is really important. And then also just being able to easily jump within a page, finding the information that you need and focusing on that information and the relevant information without having to ask someone for it. So with that, we'll flip over into Management Reporter 2012, and again, we'll focus on the report collaboration pieces as well as the interactive report viewing pieces.
So Jill, there is a question that came in that I thought it might make sense to ask you it now.
Sure.
Before you start the demo. So someone asked is, when will MR have the ability to export formulas to Excel?
The exporting of formulas to Excel is something that we are tracking as a suggestion right now. We don't have a timeline as to when that will be included. I'd encourage, we have it as a suggestion out on the Connect site. I'd encourage anyone that finds that feature valuable to go ahead and vote on that. And what we do is, as I noted previously with the number of suggestions and the number of votes for the features that were in Management Reporter 2012, we really do take that information that's out on the Microsoft Connect site and use that for our to help us prioritize features that are coming in future releases. Within Management Reporter 2012, what I have open here is the report definition. And we're going to focus on the Output and Distribution tab. And again, the thought here is for the people that are generating these financials, and they're busy people, they have a lot of other responsibilities as well, allowing them to generate a report once to multiple locations and to get information out to the people that need it is really important. So if we take a look at the Output and Distribution tab, we have the ability to go to a single output location. You can think of this as something either during the month-end close process. This report is being generated by someone in finance who, but is not ready yet for general consumption. They're doing reviewing, they're checking numbers, that type of thing. But once that process has completed, what they can do is generate this report to multiple locations. In this case, I've got a single report library location, and this is the Management Reporter report library, but I can add multiple locations from my report library to this particular folder as well. So if I've got other folders that I want to be able to generate this report to and have it placed in that folder, I can do that. Along with that is the ability to then place a link to that report in a different location. So in this case, for the report library, I'm also placing it in the finance folder on my SharePoint site. This could be, I could have multiple folders, multiple locations here, either in SharePoint or network shares, where that report link then gets placed. And again, it makes it predictable when you add in the scheduling and grouping capability within Management Reporter to be able to then people know that every month, every 2 weeks, every Monday that an updated report is placed in those locations automatically for them. So once this report is placed in, for example, generated out to the Finance SharePoint document library, if we take a look and go over into SharePoint, you can see here, here's my document library, and I have multiple reports out here, a single spot for a person to go and find all of the information that they need as it relates to the business. In this case, we've got multiple Management Reporter reports. We also have some Word documents, Excel documents, budgets, that type of thing is also out here. When I click this link to this report, what it does is it brings me to a launch page that allows me, the user, to choose how I'd like to view this report. There are some people that love being in Excel. That's what they're comfortable with. They can open the report in Excel, and the data is filtered and personalized to them. If reporting tree security has been applied to this particular report, the only information that is opened in Excel is the information that they've been given access to. The same applies to XPS Viewer, which is a read-only version, a read-only copy of the report, or the person can also use the Management Reporter Report Viewer, which is what we're going to do so that we can take a look at some of the features within Management Reporter, the Management Reporter Report Viewer that allows them to get more information and collaborate more with their other people in their company. Again, once this report opens in the Management Reporter Report Viewer, what it's doing is validating my user. It's checking to make sure I have the correct permissions. It's also filtering and making this a personalized view for me as to what I see in the report viewer. So you can see here we've got the financial statement. I can quickly use my go-to menu to jump to specific lines in this report if I'd like. I can jump to down to total expenses. I can jump down to net income. What I'd like to focus on is up in the top area here. If we take a look at salaries and wages, for example, and I'd like to know a little bit more information about what's happening with salaries and wages. What I can do is double-click, and then I'm brought down to the next level of this report by simply double-clicking. I can see that everything in this particular account is in the sales department. I can double-click again. And at this point, I want to actually see, I need to find out some more information about this particular line of what's happening across January, February, and March. I simply select my row, and then I can select the Drill to Dynamics button. And what that's going to do is open the detailed inquiry screen. And what I can see here is all of the transactions that made up that particular row. The great thing about once I'm in GP is then I also have the ability to drill back to the specific journal entry, and I can also go to the source document for that. So again, putting the information into the hands of the people that need it without having to ask questions, have another specific report run that includes this information. By linking the two together, I'm able to get to the information that I need. So go back into the report viewer here. Now that I've drilled down on this particular line, I want to add a comment about it. So I can simply go over to my comment pane here and do an add comment and say that, you know, I found more information on sales salaries, and add that. And what that does is now the next person that goes in and views this report will be able to see that comment and be able to know that someone else has already taken a look at this. They've either have a question, I could post a question in here, or I can collaborate again with others in my organization about it. Now, if I need an answer to a question quickly, I don't want to wait for someone else to view this. What I can do is once I'm in this report is click on my Send Instant Message button and send a message to Sheila, who happens to be away right now. But what that does is it gives the context of this particular line. I want to have Sheila take a look at the salaries and wages account in this report, and she can click that link, and she will get the same dialogue or the same screen that we saw when we were launching it from within SharePoint. She'll be able to open it in Management Reporter. She'll be able to see the comment that I had made on this particular report and then answer my question. We can have this conversation back and forth and really collaborate and get all of the information that we need about it.
And Jill, you referred to SharePoint a couple times. Do you know, does it include the SharePoint that's in Office 365?
Currently, it does not include the Office 365 SharePoint. A link to a report could be placed out on Office 365 SharePoint. The generation process itself won't automatically place that link for you. But you can simply copy, if you want to have this included out onto your Office 365 SharePoint site, you could simply use the copy link up here in the toolbar and use that link and put it out onto your Office 365 SharePoint site, and you'd have then the same experience that you would have within an on-premise SharePoint site.
Okay, great. And there's another question on the question manager as well, and it had to do with speed of Management Reporter. So is it slow compared to FRX, or how does it perform?
As far as performance is concerned, it really depends on the environment that the report's being generated in. There are some factors, include the report design, network speed, that type of thing, all take into account the performance of a particular report. We have some customers that have seen it perform faster, and then we've had some that have seen it perform slower. So it really depends on the environment that it's in. The customers that we have seen that have been experiencing some performance issues, we encourage them to talk with our support group. What that does is it allows us to identify areas where things appear to be generating slower. It also gives the opportunity for the support team to take a look at how the report is designed and offer up suggestions on how the report design can help in that particular area. One of the big changes from FRX to Management Reporter was the introduction of using dimensions and dimension sets across all of the segments in the ERP. And what that does is it eliminates, in many cases, eliminates the need for reporting trees. And that's one area that you can think of as it relates to report design and how to make things more efficient and get reports out more efficiently.
Okay, and one last question in the question manager is, will this work with the new SharePoint version that's being released?
We are currently testing that now. I don't anticipate that there are going to be any issues with it, but we'll have an update on the download page for Management Reporter and also on our blog once that's released.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. You can continue with your demo.
The last piece within the viewer here that I wanted to touch on was the ability to add some quick charts to provide a little bit more context as well as it relates to collaborating and having people visualize the data. So if I selected a row, I right-clicked and went to Quick Chart, and I can choose the pie chart. And then what I can do is actually I don't want to include my year-to-date number on here. I just want to include January, February, and March. And what I can do then is pin this, and now this report is available for anyone that's coming in and viewing this report, and they can see visually where we're at as far as salaries are concerned across this current quarter. So really allowing that collaboration. And again, this chart can then be copied and pasted out into a PowerPoint presentation if someone needs to have some kind of that kind of information to present to managers, to board members. That type of thing can be copied and pasted out to any other type of document as well. I'm going to flip back to the deck for just a minute and talk about some things that are coming in Management Reporter.
Okay, and while you shift to that, Jill, is SharePoint a requirement? Do they have to have SharePoint?
They don't have to have SharePoint. What we've seen with some customers that currently don't have SharePoint, you get that same functionality of the report link if you're using network shares. So if you have a shared drive somewhere that's where all of the reports go to, what you can do is specify that network location in the report definition, and it will place an Internet Explorer shortcut. So a shortcut link in that folder, and when you double-click it, it opens up an Internet Explorer, and you have the same experience that you have by clicking the link in SharePoint. So SharePoint is not a requirement to be able to distribute out those different links.
Great, thank you.
Sure. One of the things that we're focusing on in the next release of Management Reporter, and it really aligns with what the GP team, the Dynamics GP team is doing with Dynamics GP 2013 and the web client, is to provide the ability to view reports in a web environment, in a browser environment. And some of the things that we're seeing as benefits to this apply not only to the desktop viewer, but also into the web viewer as well. So we're showing only the information that's meaningful to those users. They can review the charts in full screen mode. So that chart that we just saw, they'd be able to really immerse themselves in that chart and use that to come up with answers to questions that they have. Again, being able to collaborate with coworkers by adding comments, and those comments then would be shared across both the desktop viewer and the web viewer. Drilling down to summary account balances or transaction detail. And then also, if people would like to have it in Excel or need a read-only format, they can download that information and do that as well from the web viewer. So if we go ahead and take a look at, I'm going to flip back over into the Management Reporter web viewer. And you can see here, again, what we've heard from customers is, there are situations where someone does not want to install a client on their machine to be able to view the financial statements. doesn't mean that they don't have security access to these particular reports. They just don't want to have another client installed. And so what we're doing with the web viewer, again, is providing them a link. They open it up in a browser, and then they can view and interact with this report similar to what they do in the desktop viewer today. You can see here when I click on the reporting tree that, again, this is a personalized view. I was not given access to the administration department, so I can't view that information. But I can quickly click, and with a single click, get to another reporting tree level. I can drill down within here, and once I drill down, I'm given kind of a breadcrumb effect here as to where I'm at within this report. And now if I'm at the sales in the sales account, what I can do is I can also use my reporting tree from here and go to the production level for this particular account as well. So now I'm at the account level for production. And by simply using the breadcrumb bar at the top, I can now go back to the financial level for production. So there's really a lot of great interaction and being able to get to the data that you need quickly and being able to find that data when you need it. If I click the reporting tree again and go to the summary of all units here, one of the other areas that I touched on was the ability to collaborate and see comments and charts, and you can see that a little bit here with the chart icon, the comment icons on the left. If I click one of those icons, what it does is it brings in a fact pane, and you can see here that there's a comment on the gross margin line, but there are also charts associated with this particular report. And I can simply click on one of the charts, and now I can see in a full screen mode the charts that were added for this particular report, and I can browse and navigate through. In this case, there's been 3 charts added. I can navigate through those charts, and then once I'm done with that viewing, I can go ahead and click the back button, and now I'm back in my report, and I can hide that fact pane so that I'm able to interact again with this report. So really, without installing anything, by simply clicking a link, I'm able to open this report, get the drill down experience, a personalized view of the report. I'm also able to collaborate with others, whether they're viewing this report in the desktop viewer or the web viewer. That collaboration is still happening across those multiple users in the company. I just want to close here just with where we are currently at and where we're going with Management Reporter. So you can see here we're releasing new features frequently along with the quality enhancements. You can see, we released Management Reporter 2012 back in March. We've had a roll-up 1 that was in April, roll-up 2 in July, and then our roll-up 3, which includes this web-based report viewing and aligns pretty well with the Microsoft Dynamics GP 2013 release, will be coming out here at the end of October, beginning of November. And that will include the web viewer as well as the quality enhancements and things that are coming in. And then as we move forward on this release cadence, new features, quality enhancements, and that type of thing will be added moving forward as well.
And Jill, for the ongoing features, there's some I sent out. If everyone looks at the Q&A manager, you can see the site for Connect where you would go to actually do the voting. So if someone votes for the Excel report, which sounds to be pretty popular, will that be in like possibly the next, like the ongoing release?
When we're laying out, when we're laying out the plan for the roll-ups moving forward, we stack those features along with quality enhancements, along with other features and feedback that we're receiving from customers as well. So they kind of all get put into a pool, and then from there we determine what features are included in roll-ups moving forward. So right now we are just beginning the planning process for the next roll-up. So as far as what is in that, I don't have an answer for that right now. We're currently evaluating what's going to be in those roll-ups moving forward.
Great. So now is the time for everyone to go out to MS Connect and make sure that your voices are heard on Management Reporter. Jill, another question is, does Management Reporter 2012 work with GP 2010 or GP 2013, or will it work with both?
It will work with both. Management Reporter 2012 is currently released with GP 2010, and we've worked really closely with the Dynamics GP team to make sure that when Dynamics GP 2013 releases that we're all in step, and so it will work with both.
Okay, and another question came in. Would Management Reporter report on all aspects of management or just financials? Can I check production KPIs for manufacturing in here?
Management Reporter reports directly off of information data that's in the general ledger. So if that information is in the general ledger, then you'd be able to report off of it. One of the great things about Management Reporter is with the flexibility that I mentioned with dimensions, depending on what type of dimension information and segment information you have in your general ledger, there are a lot of interesting types of reports that you can create to get more data out of your GL than you realize. There's specific attributes or specific things that are tied to those transactions in the general ledger that Management Reporter allows you to report off of as well.
Okay, and from a manufacturing perspective, we do have built-in SQL reporting services reports for manufacturing with KPIs and things that come built in out of the box. So if it's not in the financial side, then you would just do that in like the business analyzer or through GP itself. But we do have some built-in reports around the manufacturing piece already. So Sydney, I think we'll turn it back over to you so you can walk them through the survey process.
Thank you. I'd like to remind everyone that you can print a PDF of the slides by clicking the printer icon in the lower right corner of your screen. A pop-up menu will appear. Once you click OK, the PDF document will open, allowing you to print or save the slides locally. You should all be seeing a survey now in your slide area. If you enjoyed today's webcast or you have feedback on how we can provide you with a better event, please let us know by completing the survey. To complete the survey, simply click one of the links on screen. And with that, I'd like to extend a special thanks to today's presenters. Jill and Pam, do either of you have any closing remarks before we disconnect?
We do have a few minutes left, so if there are any there's some questions coming in now, where I thought we were done with questions, but why don't we stay on just a few more minutes and we'll answer some of the questions that are coming into the question and management pane. So Jill, one of the questions is, will it work with only Windows integrated security and not the mix of domain Windows user and SQL GP user for Management Reporter?
Management Reporter users, when they're created, are Windows authenticated, so Windows users that then, when a person logs in and selects a company in Management Reporter, then the SQL user, the SQL GP user, they have to enter those credentials as well. So, as from a management perspective, you create your user in Management Reporter. It's a Windows user that's associated to a company, and then when that user selects a company, and this would be only for the people that are actually designing and generating reports, not for the people that are viewing reports. They are, once the report is generated, it's in the Management Reporter database. It's no longer connected to Dynamics GP. So when they open that report in the viewer, we're just using the Windows authenticated user to make sure that they have access to the report. So there's a couple of different ways that you can think about that.
Okay, and next question, would Management Reporter provide you with the ability to create a separate report for each different department in a given tree and to send these reports to different locations?
What the Management Reporter link does is when that user, you can send that report, that same report with the tree to, if there are 10 departments in the tree, you can send it to 10 locations. When that user clicks, let me take one step back. So you've got your reporting tree, you've got reporting tree security applied. So you've got all of your department managers on their specific units of the reporting tree. You generate the report out to your 10 locations. That same report goes to the 10 different locations. When those 10 department managers click the link, the only thing that they will see is they all use the same link, but the only information they will see is what they've been given access to in the reporting tree. So one report with a reporting tree, multiple locations, the same link, they all see a personalized view based on their reporting tree security.
Okay. Another question is, what setting do you select for the GP dynamic link? Is that, I think that's an MR question.
Is that in the management reporter report viewer when you can drill down to dynamics? You are at when you're drilling in management reporter, there are three basically different levels. There's the financial level, which is more of a summary view. There's the account detail, and then there's transaction detail. When you select a specific amount in the viewer at the account detail level, the drill to dynamics button lights up at the top, and then you're able to select that and click back into Dynamics GP.
And how do you manage the security for tree access?
Within the reporting tree, there's a unit security field, and any users or groups that have been created in Management Reporter, you simply add those to that field, and once you generate the report and someone goes to view it, then that security is then enforced.
Okay, so please fill out a survey. Let us know what types of information you'd like to hear in these webcasts as we move forward, because we're always trying to position them and talk about the topics that you would like to talk about. Jill and I will stay on the line through the Q&A manager. For any last questions, we will do those not through audio, but just through typing in the Q&A. So if you do have some questions, feel free to continue to type those to the Q&A, and I'll send it back to Sydney so we can conclude the webcast.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that now concludes today's session. You may disconnect from the event.